February 6, 2013. Wilmington, Delaware. The city was in the middle of one of its most violent stretches in years. Gunfire had become routine in certain neighborhoods, and police were struggling to keep up with the rise of local cliques and gangs like Shoot to Kill, Only My Brothers, and Touch Money Gang. That night, 29-year-old Ioannis Kostikidis was walking near North Tatnall Street when shots rang out. A single bullet hit him, ending his life instantly. Police recovered a 9mm shell casing but no weapon. Witnesses reported seeing two young men running from the area, but no one stepped forward to name them. With little evidence and no cooperating witnesses, the case stalled. But violence doesn't stay buried. Almost 2 years later, Wilmington saw a string of killings that brought the name John Brisco to the surface. On January 18, 2015, 27-year-old Devon Lindsey was found slumped inside a van, a bullet wound to the head. Less than a week later, on January 24, William Rollins was killed near 21st and Washington. He'd been shot multiple times, head and torso, with such force that investigators knew at least 2 different weapons were used. A .357 bullet was pulled from his skull. The very next day, police arrested Kadir McCoy, a known associate of Touch Money, for robbing a bank. When they searched him, they found a Ruger P85 9mm handgun. That gun would later test positive as one of the weapons tied to Rollins's murder. McCoy even tried to get a letter smuggled to Brisco from jail, instructing him to get rid of another firearm. That letter never made it. Detectives intercepted it, giving them even more leverage against the crew. By February 2015, prosecutors felt ready. Brisco was indicted on 3 murders, Kostikidis in 2013, Lindsey in January 2015, and Rollins just days later. On top of that, he faced conspiracy, gang participation, and multiple firearm charges. The state offered him a deal. Plead guilty to second-degree murder in 2 cases, manslaughter in the 3rd, and serve 41 to 45 years. Brisco turned it down, gambling on a trial. In 2017, the courtroom became the battleground. The prosecution had no fingerprints, no DNA. What they had was testimony, and the fear that came with it. Witness after witness tried to back out. Keena Madrick testified that on the night of the Kostikidis shooting, Brisco and another male knocked on her door, looking for someone. She later picked Brisco out of a lineup. On the stand, she admitted she didn't want to be there but confirmed her story anyway. Corvon Hammond was even tougher. At first, he told the court he didn't remember speaking to detectives. The judge warned him he could face contempt charges. After pressure, Hammond admitted he had spoken with police back in 2013. His recorded statement was then played for the jury. In it, Hammond described Brisco and another man talking about robbing someone outside Madrick's house just before the gunshot went off. Then there was Joaquin Brumer. He outright refused to cooperate, claiming memory loss. But the prosecution had his prior recorded statement, too. On tape, Brumer said Brisco called him after the murder and confessed he shot Kostikidis during a robbery attempt. Prosecutors also had technology on their side. Brisco was on probation during the 2013 shooting and wore a GPS ankle monitor. Probation Officer Johnson testified that the data placed Brisco within 30 meters of 641 North Tatnall Street, the exact location of the murder, between 8:42 and 8:58 p.m. For the Rollins killing, a man named Karel Blaylock testified. He said Brisco admitted the murder to him in detail, that he shot Rollins from behind 11 or 12 times, and that McCoy delivered the final blow with a .357. According to Blaylock, Brisco even bragged that he was paid $13,000 for the hit. The state also leaned heavily on gang evidence. Detective Christian Flaherty, both a gang expert and a fact witness, laid it out for the jury. He testified that Brisco was a documented member of the Touch Money gang, explained the crew's role in Wilmington's gun violence, and connected the murders to their larger pattern of activity. The defense pushed back, arguing that the gang testimony was prejudicial, painting Brisco as guilty by association. but the judge allowed it. Day by day, the courtroom revealed the brutal cycle of fear surrounding Wilmington's gangs. Witnesses who didn't want to talk recorded statements replacing live testimony, the defense arguing that the state's case was stitched together from unreliable sources. But in the end, the jury weighed the evidence. They convicted Brisco of first-degree murder for Ioannis Kostikidis, first-degree murder for William Rollins, attempted robbery, conspiracy, gang participation, and weapons charges. But they acquitted him of killing Devon Lindsey. For those 2 murders, Brisco was sentenced to 2 life terms, plus an additional 35 years. He appealed in 2018, arguing that his lawyer was ineffective, that the judge mishandled the reluctant witnesses, and that gang evidence should never have been admitted. The Delaware Supreme Court rejected the appeal, affirming his convictions. In 2024, Brisco filed for post-conviction relief, claiming his attorney gave him bad advice on the plea deal, failed to challenge the GPS evidence, and didn't properly object to Flaherty's gang testimony. In 2025, the Superior Court denied that motion, ruling that none of his claims met the standard for ineffective counsel or judicial error. Today, Brisco remains behind bars, serving 2 life sentences plus 35 years. No parole, no second chance. His case is remembered not only for the brutality of the murders but for how it exposed the grip gangs like Touch Money had on Wilmington, and how fear kept people from talking until the courtroom forced the truth out.